My name is Catalina Lutero, and I suffer from aesthetic anxiety. That means that, well, you guys probably fear planes or some real life-threatening thing like snakes. I get very anxious at the idea of a poster where the font is kind of off or a room where the lighting is not right. In 2018, I moved to Japan for 5 years as an academic design and aesthetics researcher for Keio University in Tokyo. In my research, I understood that a lot of Japan's design icons trace back at least 1,000 years, minimum. They influence our everyday actions and decisions without us knowing. And if you guys don't know what a tatami room is a space designed approximately 1,200 years ago with very soft floors made of straw. And I was there, lying there, awake at night, where I started to wonder, what is the equivalent of the tatami room in my own Latin American culture? What are the things, objects, and spaces that trace back in our region at least 1,000 years and that still give me meaning today? I'm very ashamed to say I couldn't think of any. Why don't I have this knowledge? Colonization. So our pre-Columbian cultures were not allowed to evolve and refine. And I asked, what would Latin America look like if its pre-Columbian civilizations had evolved without colonial interruption? And the quest for the answer of this question is something that I like to call pre-Columbian futurism. And the coca leaf is very important. So I identified common features that the spaces dedicated to the coca leaf have. And for example, they were all rounded, they had a central fire, they had floor seating, they had metallic jars where you could spit in. It's very, very hard for us industrial designers to ignore a good chair. So I did the same that I did with the coca room, and I identified common design traits in some of the chairs in Aztec codices, mostly, like they all had sharp angles. But not only did I find it very interesting that they used jaguar skin, but the way they printed and illustrated this jaguar skin. So I became a little obsessed with the way they did it, and I pretty much use it in everything I design now. It was a shapeshifter, and it has AI, and it helps you decipher visions and dreams. Also take calls, whatever makes you happy. But that wasn't my favorite part of this project. My favorite part has been stumbling upon other creators that are actively working on this. Like, without knowing, I am part of a broader movement of other people across Latin America who are doing it. For example, there are chefs like Charles Michel. She mixes a lot of pre-Columbian tradition with modern pop culture, resulting in aesthetics that, for me, are very, very inspiring. I was walking one day down the Beltline in Atlanta, and I fell in love with the work of Lisette Correa as well. She's trying to communicate to the world in a way that is very accessible, as graffiti is, all her knowledge and her findings, which she didn't know before. And there's Freddy Manami, a self-taught architect from Bolivia. He does amazing things. The landscapes he builds in Bolivia are things that make me daydream of the potential hidden within our cultures. And I wish there was more. There are more, but I wish there were a lot more of us, because pre-Columbian futurism is just one aesthetic. It's one way to do it, bringing inspiration from the past to create to the present and projecting it into the future. But what I have learned during this process is that everything we are designing today is literally designing us back constantly. So, at least as Latin Americans, we need a future where we can see ourselves, so we feel empowered to work towards it, and not only wait for other cultures to tell us what the future holds or predict the future for us. Thank you.